Hi, my name is Seetal. In today's video, I'll show you how I turn this couch into a beauty. If you're new to my channel, then hi, my name is Seetal and you're watching Seetal MD. On this channel, I talk about minimalism, productivity, and I do some lifestyle videos such as this one. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't already, also hit the notification button so you get notified every time I post a video. Now, let's move on to today's video. So the couch that I have was a perfectly good condition olive green couch that I painted or attempted to paint it white. I wanted to turn it into a leathery white couch, just like how a lot of people paint upholstery these days. However, after 2 coats and 8 hours later, it still wasn't really turning white, and it was a lot of effort. And I also didn't like the dry feeling that the paint leaves, even though I did sand it down twice like what they say. So the only thing left to do was to rip all of the fabric and reupholster this couch myself. So the first thing I did was turn the couch on itself, remove the legs and all other hardware that I found, and I used a flathead screwdriver as well as a plier to remove all the staples. Next, I used an X-Acto knife to remove the material or the fabric of the couch where I couldn't really be bothered removing the staples. Also, I was really careful to remove the couch fabric by its seam as much as I could, because I wanted to emulate the exact same measurements onto my new fabric so that I didn't have to do a lot of guessing game. And of course, I looked in and out of my couch to get to know my couch a bit better, and the areas where I could not pry open the seam, I cut open the seam, but I remembered to label everything so I knew how much fabric I needed to add to it later when I was cutting this out on top of my new fabric. There were a lot of fastenings with the normal material that they had used in the couch to kind of pull the top fabric of the couch down, so I had to remove that too in order to be able to remove the top fabric. And then I decided to go ahead and remove the cushions, the bottom cushions, so that I could make removable or washable cushion covers. And I did the same thing for the top. And as for any sides that I could not remove, again I used an X-Acto knife and a scissors to cut open the fabric. This was by no means an easy task, because pulling, cutting was really very taxing. So take your time to do this part if you're attempting to reupholster your couch. I took a good 2 hours to remove the entire couch, to pull the couch apart. Now, when I removed the back part of the couch, which, because I also wanted to make removable cushions, I first went ahead and removed the overhang on the sofa foam to put this overhang back on top of the couch. This was a mistake, as you will see later, because it doesn't really sit very well and sturdy on top of the couch. So even if I went ahead and wrapped it, it would kind of move around a lot. And then I also cut my top cushion or the back cushion into 3 separate pieces, so I could make 3 separate cushions, just to give it that more of a cozy kind of look. And here you see me removing the foam from the bottom cushion, because I wanted to fill in that extra bit on the bottom, so that when I went ahead and wrapped it with some batting, it would sit nicely. So after removing all the cushions and everything, we need to wrap everything with batting, fresh batting, so that it is, when you put your cloth on top, it will be nice and smooth. Otherwise your cloth would follow each and every contour and will look really wonky. This part is of course really easy, because it's just like wrapping a birthday present. If you can wrap a present, you can do this part. There were some empty areas at the bottom of the couch, so I just filled it up with some fluff cotton that I found lying around, and then I wrapped it with the batting so it would lay smoothly. So the batting would lay smoothly, because if the batting lays smoothly, then your fabric will lay smoothly. before I cut any of the fabric, I laid the original fabric back onto the couch so I remembered where I took it out from, and then I laid it on my fabric and cut it. And I definitely left some extra room on the sides and the bottom where I figured, I'm not sure whether I was going to staple it to the couch or sew it onto another piece of cloth, but I definitely left extra room, because if you don't leave extra room, it's hard to kind of like adjust later. And definitely after cutting, I also did a dry fitting run, just to see that everything fits. And when I cut my fabric, other than marking my markings and things like that with a marker pen, I also made some notches, so I remembered until where I wanted to sew, or until where I had to stop, or where the other seam started. So leave markings, notches everywhere through your fabric that you have cut out, so you remember where to sew it, and sew everything in little batches so you remember. And then I went ahead and pinned the fabric as much as I could. There cannot be enough pins for this part. Once you're done pinning it, do a dry fit to see whether it fits on the couch roughly how you think it might fit after you've sewn it, and then take it to the sewing machine, sew it up, and do another dry fit before doing an overstitch. To do an overstitch, push the seam to either side, one side of the couch, wherever you want it to be, wherever you want it to sit, and sew that overhang or that excess seam down with a straight stitch, just about 3/8 of an inch away from the original seam. This would not only make the original seam even stronger, but it would look more professional and the fabric would sit better on your couch. This is where I made a mistake. So I took another big piece of fabric, and my initial plan was to cover the couch with a big piece of fabric and just staple it down like a wrapping paper. So I went ahead and did this, spent a lot of hours into the night, and then realized that I didn't actually like how it looked, because it looked really like someone unprofessional attempted the sofa. While I should probably forgive myself, because I'm not a professional upholsterer person or whatever, furniture maker, I still did not like how the staples could be seen, the folds could be seen. It just looked like I literally wrapped the couch with, one of those fabric sofa covers that they have that, one size fits all. I did not like how it looked, but I did not learn my lesson. I went ahead and stapled the entire thing, removed the entire cloth the next day, and started back from scratch. I like how the arms looked, but I needed to do some adjustments. So first, I removed the batting on the back of the couch to remove that top piece of foam, which was really wonky and did not sit well. And then I went ahead and adjusted the foam back, and wherever my couch needed new foam, I added that. I put the legs back for this part because I found it easier to do any stapling or whatever that I needed with the legs back on or the couch slightly elevated. I added extra batting on the back of the couch so that my fabric would sit even nicer on the top now that I've removed the foam, and this was definitely better. I also added the extra batting on the bottom of the couch. And then once I put the arms back, which I was happy with, thankfully, I went ahead and pinned the new fabric to my couch. And this is how I kind of estimated where I wanted to sew. But of course, this took a while too. So pinning, sewing, this can take a long while. After I pinned everything, I removed everything and attached more pins. Like I said, you cannot have enough pins. After pinning everything again, I put it back to do another test fit to see whether it would sit nicely once everything is sewn, and I made a lot of marks, made a lot of notches so I would know. And I just emulated the exact same measurement on the other side of the arm or the other side of the couch, because really it's mirror images from one side to the other. This was the only difficult part to do, where I had to do this little door like thing on the side of the couch, but with lots of patience it got done. And then I cut the same piece for the other side, mirror image, and did a test run, and thankfully it fits really nicely. And that took maybe about an hour and a half, that entire process, but it was totally worth it because right now the couch looks really, really professional. The only part I didn't stitch was that middle part where I'm stapling right now, and that was not a problem. I just stitched it to the couch, and then I stitched the bottom. I stapled the bottom, I stapled the fabric to the couch, and I stapled the bottom. And you cannot have enough staples. Just go ahead, go staple crazy and staple away. Okay, and now for measuring your cushion too. After measuring your cushion, I cut out fabric from a calico piece of fabric. This was really cheap calico, or maybe it was even poplin fabric, whatever fabric I had, to cover the cushion before I put my sofa fabric on it. And I also repaired any torn batting to a new piece of batting, because if the batting doesn't sit right, then your fabric's not going to sit right. The reason you need to put that calico piece is so that when you're putting your removable cushion covers, it will be easy to remove and close back, and of course make sure the batting sits nicely on the inside. And I hand sewed the opening of my calico covers of the cushion, because I will not be opening this up again once this is stitched. That's it. Now for measuring my fabric, sofa fabric, I measured the couch cushions, and I took away about half an inch on total measurement for the height, width and length, and not to mention added half an inch again on all sides for seam allowance. Now the reason I measured half inch smaller for my total measurement was because if your fabric is not sewn tight and like really, really firm fitting, when you go ahead to put your cushion through it, your cushion won't feel as firm, and there will be lots of wrinkles when you get up from the couch. To sew the zipper onto the couch cushion cover, it's really easy. First, sew the sides of your cushion right sides facing, sew it with a straight basting stitch. Mark where your zipper ends and starts, and once you've sewn a basting stitch through that line, a straight line, open up the seam and place the zipper right on top of that seam, or right smack in the middle of that seam, and then use a zipper foot to sew on each side of the zipper with a normal stitch, not a basting stitch. And once you're done with that, just rip open the basting stitch and your zip is done. Once you're done struggling a little bit to put that slightly smaller cushion cover on top of your cushions, it's finally time to feel how your cushion feels. See if you need to make it even tighter, but if you're happy with it, then go ahead, turn the couch on its side and staple back the black cloth that we removed from the earlier, from the first part, and attach the legs back on, and you're done. Go ahead and style your couch. Oh my god, I am so happy that I finally finished this. It took literally 8 days because I kind of gave up in the middle. I had to remove everything all over again and do a lot of sewing, and I could only work for about 4 to 5 hours a day because I had the kids with me, so it was not that easy and I didn't have that much time. But if I could do this the proper way, I think it would take me probably 3 days to do it. Overall, I am really happy with it. There are still some wrinkles in this couch, but I can't complain. I'm just so happy with how it looks. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below and I will try to answer them. And as usual, do subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell notification button if you haven't already. I would love for you to follow our little community that we've formed here, and thank you so much for all your support and watching my videos until the end. I really love you guys so much. I am so happy that I've reached like over 1,000 subscribers, and I will see you again shortly next week. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and bye. Love you.